What's up, everybody? It's Brian from USA.Patriot.Cards. It's been a minute. I have a lot to say. Just kind of been tucking things away in the back of my mind for when I was finally able to get in front of the camera and make a video. And so I've got a little bullet point over here. We're going to talk about some sales I've made, purchases I've made, some things I've seen in the hobby. But first, I want to start with this question. Do you have the collector's gene? Well, what is a collector's gene? Well, in my estimation, a collector's gene is that you collect the cards because you love the cards, right? You don't collect the cards because you know the margin, whether it be off season, whether it be speculating, whether it be for whatever reason. You know that there's a margin to be made. If you buy this card here, you can flip it here. You can make your 10, 15, 20, 30, 40%, whatever it be. But you buy the card with the exit ramp already sort of in mind. So you're buying the card for the money, not for the card. Now, quickly, I get it. All of the true collectors, we have to sell cards. We have to turn over our collection, or else we're going to run out of money, right? And certain things get stale, or certain stuff starts to go down, or whatever might be the reason or the case that you would make for you to sell and or trade a card. Part of the hobby. And I'm not talking about a situation where true collectors can't ever sell a card, but I think if you have the collector's gene, you're constantly curating your collection. You're constantly, thinking about cards that you want to acquire, not players that you want to make a flip on. You'll find yourself in your card space often looking, just staring at your cards, getting them situated just right. Or, when I was a kid, I had a binder, and I was constantly taking cards out, rearranging, making that binder just so, and then taking that binder everywhere I went and constantly looking at the binder, just flipping through all the time, getting my sets in order, that's having the collector's gene. If your wife has ever asked you, what do you do with these things? Do you just stare at them and you say, yeah, that's what I do with them? You have the collector's gene. When I buy a card, sorry, I got some in my eye. When I buy a card and I'm prospecting a little bit, or like, let's say a quarterback is having had a down year, or in the middle of a season is having a down stretch, and I buy a card because I think that there'll be a resurgence in that player and in that player's market. And then that turns out to be the case. Say I bought a card for $500, now all of a sudden it's doubled and it's $1,000 card. I'm happy to have that card. It's not easy for me to just go, oh, I'm going to take my $500. I'm going to take I've doubled the money I put in. I'm going to just take that. That's a win. Move along. Like I'm thinking more about, well, if I sell this, will I ever be able to get it, again at this price? So. It's just a question that I think is fun to ponder, and I think, like I said, I think there can be varying degrees of a collector's gene. You can be the type of guy that never sells anything, period. You can be the type of guy that begrudgingly lets things go. You can be the type that consolidates. This is something that's on my bullet point over here, so let me just move right on into that. There are different opinions, and I think it goes back to whether or not you have the collector's gene and to what degree you do. I think that Jeff Wilson started this whole thing when he was talking about only getting the top 1% of a player's cards, sort of moving off of all this more common stuff into Marshall Fogel type grails, humongous cards that aren't going to come up, aren't going to have a lot of comps, and that's what he decided that's the new direction he decided he was going to take. And I think there was some pushback to that. There's not from me. I get it, Jeff. I totally get it. I would rather have a $20,000 card of Luka that's really rare and nice, like the Blue Ice, let's say, than 10 $2,000 cards that you could see all the time, and that always are coming up and being auctioned and this and that. But to Cajun Cardboard's point, he said that just because a card might not be in that top 1% doesn't mean it's not important, and doesn't mean it's not collectible if you're a collector of that certain player. So that's sort of where I'm landing, is that I consolidate into bigger cards, but I've also consolidated into a smaller number of players that I'm willing to collect, and a smaller number of sets that I want to collect. I've sort of narrowed my focus, and that type of consolidation, I think, is helps you when you're like, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. It's sort of well, I've set sort of some boundaries for myself. I have a direction in my collecting, approach that I need to stay true to. And so if I've decided that I'm not doing kabooms and I'm not doing downtowns, unless it's, of Dirk or Luka, let's say, or whoever your 1 or 2 or 3 players are, then you're not buying a Justin Fields kaboom. You're not buying, a Trevor Lawrence downtown. If you're gonna go get like a Justin Fields or a Trevor Lawrence card, then maybe you say, I like Color Match Prism non-autos, or I like Contenders base, or whatever the case may be. Makes it easier for you to consolidate into that plan or that focus or those parameters that you've set for yourself when collecting a certain player. So I would definitely encourage you guys, especially if you sort of feel overwhelmed sometimes, to spend some time really thinking about what cards do I find myself really drawn to. For me, it's the Prism color match. And then beyond that, it's on-card autos. It's game-used veteran patch autos. But, I see some really cool parallels, Prism parallels, like the, what's one? The snake skin is super cool, right? But I try to stay away from it. Monopoly was a really cool thing that hit the scene. I have to stay away from it for the most part. So consolidation doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take, a bunch of smaller cards and move them into a bigger card. It can, but it can also mean just focusing your collecting strategy. So with that being said, the next quick thing I want to talk about is Luka Doncic and his market. Is it heating up? With Tatum not winning the championship and with Ja being a complete idiot, it was just a toy now. Is that what we're supposed to believe? I think it has opened up a scenario in which Luka is going to remain at the top, or on the throne of the top collected, most desired young NBA player. Trae Young isn't there. You got new guys now like Paolo and I don't know who else. But I know for a fact that Tatum, Trae Young, Ja Morant, those guys are in that Luka class, right? In those 2 to 3 years of NBA players that came up together. And who should we? Anthony Edwards is in that class. Who should we put our money into? Who's worth collecting? Who will emerge out of this group? And seems like Luka has been the top guy and will continue to be the top guy. I want to show you this. So after I acquired my blue ice at the last Dallas show, this popped up on eBay, an auction, right? And so I'm like, oh, of course, right? This is not going to do what the last one did, just because of the trend in high-end cards, in Luka cards, in basketball cards. There was a lot of different reasons why that card should not have done the last comp, which was 19-2 back in January. So I'm watching it, and all of a sudden, here comes, the auction gets to 15, to 17. Is this being shilled? 18, 20. I'm like, wow, 20? That's crazy. And then I'm thinking to myself, hey, if we're shilling this, guys, chill out. Like, don't go so crazy, right, that the comp is going to seem like it's an obvious shield comp, not going to be paid for, and this should be thrown out the window. And then it got all the way up to 28.5K, and I thought, God dang, well, so much for seeing a reversal of his market coming down, and now here's a nice little tick up. Had that card ended at around 21, 22, then you can think, hey, that's cool. Like the last one was 19.2. Now it's kind of reversed the trend, and it's picked up a little steam, going the other way a little bit, and you could attribute that to who knows what, Jaw, Tatum, whatever, just people being able to get into that card. Maybe they've wanted to get into that card, now they're able to get in that card. People have sort of moved past this whole Mavericks didn't make the playoffs, Luka's market is in trouble, to, hey, he's still very collected and I still want to collect him, whatever it might be. I'm rambling. Point is, it got all the way up to 28.5, and I was like, well, no one's going to believe that. No one's going to believe that the last one did 19.2. 3 months later, this does 28.5. Okay, right. Yeah, sure. Totally shield, totally bullcrap. And then it gets paid for. That's a legit comp. 100%. There's only 40 of the blue ices. The last one did 28.5. That's what's going to start happening when these bigger cards start falling into the hands of people with the collector's gene, right? People who don't want to just immediately march that card right out to market because they're afraid it's going to go down, or because it's gone up a little bit and they're trying to make money. Those Luka blue ices, there's only 40 of them. Like I said, they're finding their way into people's hands like me, who are like, this is my card. I'm riding with Luka. I'm going to enjoy every game I watch. I'm going to enjoy the ride. And this is a card that's in my collection to stay. Maybe one day I'll trade it or move it or something, but I'm not going to be worried about the direction that it moves in. It's in my PC. It's at home, so to speak. It's found its forever home, or whatever. And so, yeah. I mean, does that make the one I have a 28.5K card? I don't know. But I know this: if I wouldn't have traded my Mahomes camo for my blue ice, I'd be like, what the hell? I'd be a little FOMO. I'd be a little nervous. I'd have a little bit of FOMO right now. Let's see. What else is on here? Some respect for Jeff Wilson, I wrote down. Yeah, respect for Jeff Wilson in that I liked the trade that he made for the Steph Curry National Treasures RPA. You got all these fart-sniffing vintage guys, right? Oh my God, I can't believe he traded a Babe Ruth Gaudian. Oh my God, I can't believe he traded the Mantle Bowman. And look at all these great vintage cards. What an idiot. Those guys, those vintage guys that seem like they like to sit around and smell their own farts, right? In a group, in a circle. I can imagine them doing that. They were just outraged that Jeff Wilson would trade for a modern basketball player at perhaps Curry's peak. No, that card is sick, and who gives a shit about a Bowman, Mantle, or Gaudy Ruth? I've seen that card way more times. Both of those cards, all those cards that Jeff traded into that Curry, I've seen all those cards way more than I've seen that NT patch RPA of Curry. That card is freaking flaming. I endorse that deal. I sign off on that deal, and I'm on your side this time, Jeff. We're not buddies yet. A long way to go before that happens, but I do have some respect for you for that trade. Next, sports card radio bullshit is getting old. Yeah, oh, you collect these pictures of men, and you're so stupid, and you're so silly, and you live in your mom's basement, and you don't live in a really tough part of the country like Stockton, California, and me and my brother, and have watches, and do this and that. And I don't think I'm big enough to be on the sports card radio radar, but on the off chance this makes it in front of those guys, and I'm setting myself up for them to come after me. It's not a personal thing, guys. It's just your shit gets old, man. It's like I don't want to be, and I don't watch you as much as I used to. But it's like every time that I get on now, it's like it gets old hearing you reduce collectors and people with collectors genes to little kids that are like get pictures of men. We get it. There could be better. Maybe though the people that collect watches and sports cars and all that shit, maybe they have a little bit of I don't know. Self-confidence issue, or maybe they're like, I need to ride around in this sports car, have this big fat watch on my wrist because that's going to get the attention. Meanwhile, I've got $1 million sports car collection in my room that nobody knows about because I don't give a damn, because I am self-confident and I can collect pictures of men. Next, Gem Mint Plus closing the gap on PSA 10. Let me fix this. That seems to be the case. I don't know what Beckett's ultimately going to do about the restructuring of their grading, but I see that the BGS 9.5 Gem Plus with a 10 and the rest 9.5 subs is getting a lot of hobby love, and it seems to be doing about 80% of a PSA 10 when then you consider that the Men Gem, so that's 3 9.5s and a 9, is doing about half of a PSA 10. Yeah, the first thing I do when I'm looking for a Julio Rodriguez first Bowman Chrome Blue auto, I would really like to find a Gem Plus in the range that I feel like it should be, as opposed to a PSA 10, because I think the PSA 10s are doing, last one did 7,200, so I feel like a Gem Plus should be around like 55 maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'd rather still at that price have the PSA 10, but I just feel like that Gem Plus is gaining steam and closing the gap a little bit. And then a hobby palette cleanse quickly. When you get all these, you hear the sports card radio guys reduce us to idiots, and you see the vintage fart sniffers talking about how stupid you are for not collecting vintage, and you just need a hobby palette cleanse. Go check out Pepino Man. Pepino Man, I know you watch my stuff from time to time. You have the collector's gene. I respect the absolute hell out of you, brother. Look forward to all your videos, whether you're in line just ripping packs at Starbucks, or whether you're back from Frank & Sons with a bunch of tough stuffs and a Diamond Vision Ken Griffey Jr., whatever the case is. If you guys just need to get back in touch with what it feels like to be 12 years old and excited again, go watch Pepino Man. All right, now I got some cards to show. Quickly, we're at about 20 minutes. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Let's just get started. So, Marcus Semien, if you haven't noticed, guys, the Texas Rangers are the second best team in baseball behind the Tampa Bay Rays. Marcus Semien has had an absolute monster of a year. And so I was like, well, it's time I throw a nod his way and pick up something nice. I love the finest. This is a refractor. This is a short print. This is out of 10 now. It doesn't seem to be a gold refractor or anything like that, but super short print out of 10. Very nice. Still has the protective coating, which is very important when you're talking about finest cards. This would look really sick in a slab. I just might grade it. Going through some old boxes, and I found this Mikal Bridges Revolution. This is the Cosmic. This is out of 100. He's a young guy that is pretty affordable and has some potential hobby upswing next season. Just depends on where he lands, if he stays in Brooklyn or if he's traded or wherever he ends up. If he was a Maverick, I'd be all over him. But this is a cool card. Found it in my box. Decided to mag it up. Okay, Ship My Cards. I used Ship My Cards for several recent eBay purchases, and they all came at once. I did have to wait, It's like when you use Ship My Cards and you buy one card, well, all of a sudden, a week later, you bought another one, right? And then another one a week after that. And then, so you're like, okay, when am I going to draw the line and get all of my Ship My Cards, sent to me? Because, that could keep going and going and going. So I finally had to just say, okay, I got 5 cards there. I'm going to get them all sent to me. If you don't know about Ship My Cards, it's a way to avoid paying sales tax on eBay purchases. So it works when you're buying bigger cards. The way they do it is they have a mailing address in Oregon, and so that state doesn't have internet sales tax. I think it's one of the remaining few, if not the only one. And so when you have an Oregon address on eBay, it'll take off the sales tax. So if you're talking about, $1,000 card, that's $80. $10,000 card, that's $800. So it doesn't take long before, that sales tax really start eating into your card money. So it's really easy to use. They charge a small fee to handle all your packages and to get them out to you. But man, it's a way to save money in this hobby. So Chris Meeks is one of the better artists in Garbage Pail Kids. This is Adam Baum. He is the top character. So this was a cool little sketch pickup that went to my Ship My Cards account. Here's another one. I picked this up, won this in an auction, got this super cheap. I'm a Royals guy. I PC the Royals. Bobby Witt Jr. This is another guy that's also young and upcoming for the Royals, MJ Melendez. He's a catcher that they kind of moved to right field. He's got a big stick, but I think this was like $250 or $300. I mean, it was a steal to be an on-card gold first Jim PSA 10. So that was an exciting pickup there, and it goes with this. I just thought I'd pull this out and show you that I do have the blue for MJ Melendez. Next, I don't know if I showed this. I picked this up from Josh, my friend Josh. This was one of the cards that he bought or traded for. I can't remember how he got this, but he gave it to me for 85% of comps. I've always liked this card, this Blue Scope, Herbert. I love the rated rookie on Optics. It's a good color match, and I love the Blue Scopes. This is the only Herbert card I have. I might pick up another one, not sure yet, but this was cool. This was like $225. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be the most expensive, biggest, hugest card to be in my collection. I mean, this is a cool card that I'm going to keep, and this is the extent of my Justin Herbert bag. Next, pick this one up, Harrison Bader. Now, the story on Harrison Bader is that he came up with Cardinals, as you can see, but he is from the Bronx in New York, and the Yankees traded for him last year while he was still hurt. He came through in the postseason healthy, and he was on fire in the postseason. Now, I don't know if it's a Harrison Bader trend or not that he struggles to stay healthy. I haven't really followed him much. But I know this, he is happy in New York. He's playing for his hometown, and he plays center field. So if you can collect the center fielder for the Yankees, I think I bought this for $180. It's a Gem Plus. And then this is a 2018 Bowman Chrome, so not his first, but still a rookie. This is out of 25. I got this at the Dallas show a couple shows ago for, I can't remember, I think $250 or so. But I wanted to get, since I had this, I wanted to get this first. It's a refractor, and it's just cool. So yeah, if you like the Yankees, Harrison Bader's like no-brainer if you have the collector's gene, because he's center field. He's the Mickey Mantle of the current Yankees. Okay, this one. So if you follow my channel, you know that I picked one of these up. This is a Pop 26 card, the silver in the tin, a Gem Mint tin, from 2012 Prism. It's the first Prism set. If you follow my channel, when he got traded to the Mavericks, I went out and bought one, and I might have reached. No, I definitely reached, because these have come way down just after the way the season ended up for the Mavericks. And so one of these came up. I have this in a saved search just to keep my eye on it, because if there's a way to dollar cost average, then I'll try to do it if it makes sense. And this one ended at about half of what I paid for the other one. So I was able to snag this and then, dollar cost average down. There's also another one up right now that I don't want to have to get, but I'm just going to keep my eye on it. If you're a Maverick guy and you want a nice Kyrie, there's one of these up at, I think it's at like, I don't know, 500 right now with 5 days left or so. And then finally this 98 Topps Chrome Jason Williams White Chocolate Refractor. I'd love to get this in a 10, This comes from my favorite basketball set, the 1998 Topps Chrome. This is also Paul Pierce, Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki's rookie year. I love Jason Williams, and so I decided to make I decided to bring him into my stable of collected players, right, and do a new player collection of him. He's going to be somebody I look for cool stuff of. There's a Kaboom PSA 10 out there of his from, I think, Crown Royal 21 that I'm going to keep my eyes on if I can get one in a auction or something. But I had to get this, and I still want the Vince Carter, and I still would like to get the Paul Pierce just because, like I said, I love the 1998 Topps Chrome basketball set. And what else? I did want to talk about a couple. So one more purchase is this. I finally found this. Well, two more purchases. Sorry. Let me talk about the sale I had first to fund these purchases. So I sold this. This is the retail short print Josh Allen green auto Pop 2. This card I traded into at $12K back when Josh Allen was just beginning his the 13-second, the Pat Mahomes. Was it last season when last season was over? Not last season, the season before that. When that season was over, Josh Allen was the hobby darling. People were ranking him ahead of Mahomes in some circles. But his stuff was red hot. I had picked up this green Prism in the middle of that year. He was kind of cold for the first 6 weeks. He started hot, got cold. I picked him up when he was cold, and then he kind of went on this late season run, got into the postseason, was damn near perfect, blew out the Patriots, went to Kansas City, should have won that game, then the 13 seconds happened. So I sat on this card thinking, hey, this is a huge Josh Allen card. And then last season happened, and he started throwing some picks. And I don't know if Stephon Diggs is not happy up there, but that kind of seemed to be maybe a possibility. And all of a sudden, Josh Allen's market started to fall. And so I got more than half of what I traded this into this, but out of respect for the other party, he didn't want me to disclose how much I got, so I won't. But I will say that I was able to fund some pretty nice purchases with this money, and those two purchases were these. Now I was able to buy these two and then have some money left over. So I've been in the market for a first Bowman Blue J-Rod auto. I really wanted a PSA 10, would still like to have a PSA 10. If you have a PSA 10 First Bowman J-Rod Blue, and you want to trade down or out of it somehow, I've got, I want that card. Now, I'd like to be around comps if possible. So, there's some of the PSA 10s out there for, $9K, $10K, $12K. Last comp did $7,200, so I'd like to be around there with some cash, some trade. I had to settle for you just never see these. They just don't pop up. Even as a men gym, I had to settle for this. Won it in an auction. It's on its way to ship my cards, so it has to make it there. Then from Oregon, they ship it to Arizona, where their main hub is, and then from Arizona, it sits in inventory until you pay to have it shipped here. So it'll probably be another 2 weeks before I get it. It's been 2 weeks since I won that auction, so ship my cards definitely slows down the process. And it makes mail days take a lot longer. But if you've got the collector's gene, then you're not so worried about how long it's going to take a card to get to you, because you know that you're not missing any windows. You're not seeing a shrinking margin, because this card is for your PC just to put away and stare at. I think nope, that's not it. And I also picked up this. Now this is a Pop 57. I didn't have any Trevor Lawrence before this, so I picked this up. It's a silver PSA 10 Pop 57. These just don't show up. There's not one. There's two available. They're in the PWCC vaults at $4,500 or best. I got a steal on this card, about $700 less than the last comp. And yeah, this will just be my lone T-Law card. I'm gonna put it in there, and it's gonna have, you know, all the quarterbacks. Here's my current bag of quarterbacks. I'll show you. I got some Mahomes. Then my biggest bag is Deshaun Watson. I'm really expecting and hoping for a big, huge year out of him. And then here's sort of my hodgepodge of everything else. And my T-Law Silver will join this group here and just be, you know, a single card representation of all the quarterbacks that I like in the league. So, yeah, that's it on what I've been up to for the past couple weeks in the hobby. My wife doesn't get back in town for a couple of days, so I'm sure that I'll be back on sooner rather than later. But it did feel good to get some things off my chest. Let me know in the comments, do you have the collector's gene? And then tell me again, as always, if you've started a channel, if you're doing videos, if you're putting stuff up, make sure that you leave a, make sure I know about it, because I want to see. I'm always looking for like I see the same faces doing the same crap in the YouTube space, and so and I love those faces. I'm not like I'm not unhappy with the content that's out there. Although I will say the Justin Gamble crew, I watch every video because they're short, but it's just essentially them laughing.
But we're supposed to go to the gym with Hitman, and we're here.
And it's like Justin, God bless him, he's one of those guys that laughs at any and everything. And it's great to be around those people because, well, no matter what you say, he's going to be laughing at it. But then you get this false sense of like, I'm funny. Anything I say is funny, and it's not. And so it just, once I noticed that, like, oh God, this guy's an overlaugher, it's sort of taken some of the allure out of his videos. So I'd really appreciate it if there were some new faces. That means you. Make a video so I can watch it. Thank you guys for watching this one. We'll see you on the next one. Like I said, hopefully that will be soon. Till then, see you next time. Bye.